So it creeps in and our stress goes up. Clutter feels like an ever-present enemy, doesn't it, that we're trying to constantly beat down? And it's more than just a feeling. A UCLA study found that women with a lot of household items, a lot of stuff, actually had higher cortisol levels. We are stressed. It does stress us out. My next guest wants to help you form new habits and routines to help prevent clutter from piling up in the first place. Professional organizer Jenny Layton joins me to share 6 everyday actions to keep the mess away. And just knowing you are promising that they're like daily systems, right? Like we get them in our brain, we start to work them through our person, it just becomes habits.
Right, it's almost like your house will keep itself clean when you have a few really well-timed habits.
Okay, you explain it sort of as like downloading a program in our mind.
Right, well, our brain loves things that are easy. So anytime something's a habit, it just doesn't have to think very hard or work. So anytime a task can be a habit, it's so much easier.
So it might take a little discipline up front, as any habit forming effort does.
Right. I mean, I like to think about you have about 2 weeks of discipline or willpower before something dies off. So be really smart. Use that little bit of time to really ingrain that habit. And then you just have like a program that runs and kind of cleans your house for you.
The house just hums away.
I think so.
Okay, system or habit number 1, you say never leave a room empty-handed.
This is a great one to start with because I don't know about you, but how often are you just chilling on the couch with your kids?
Right.
You're all over the place, right? So you'll be making dinner and then you'll think, I needed to move something to the dryer, and then on the way back to the kitchen, someone needs you in another room. So if you think about by the time you make it back to the kitchen to start working on dinner, you've covered a lot of ground.
You've lapped the whole house.
Right, so why not put things back where they go on your way without even meaning to? You've got a really great opportunity to train your brain to just look for things that belong in the direction you're going in, and you're just gonna love how there's so much less clutter to put away.
I'm going to the laundry room, I'm going to bend down, swoop up that pair of socks.
Right.
And toss them on my way.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right. Perfect. Touch it once. That's another strategy you recommend.
Right. So this is another really good one to help prevent clutter. So as long as you have something in your hands, do it then so you don't have to come back to it later.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think we tell our kids this, but we can practice it too. Don't drop your pajamas on the floor while they're already in your hands. Put them away so you don't have to come back to it later. Or don't just leave the plate in the sink. Move it all the way to the dishwasher because while it's in your hands, you have momentum. The moment you put it down, you're creating a future task for yourself, which creates clutter, but it also makes the task so much harder than it needs to be.
I can hear my mom. It's the same amount of energy,
right,
Brooke, to put it in the dishwasher as it is in the sink.
Here I am again.
No, I love it. I love it.
I want to do that. It
All
really makes
said
a
lovingly.
difference.
And I find myself in mom mode, at least, like trying to implement that with the little pieces that can pile up, right? The little stuff that, as you scan a room, might not jump out to you like a pile of clothes on the floor would, but it just feels so good to tuck in those little bits too.
Right, right. And as you take care of it while it's in your hand, while you touch it once, it's amazing how much time and effort that saves over a day's time. It really does add up.
I wholly subscribe to the 1-minute rule, so I'm so glad to get your endorsement too.
Well, it's on the heels of the touch it once, because touch it once makes sense. While it's in your hand, take care of it. But there are times you don't really have the time to take care of a certain thing. That's where the 1-minute rule comes in because it gives it boundaries. So let's say you're going out to get the mail from the mailbox. Touch it once would say, take care of all that mail while it's in your hand so you don't have to come back to it. And you can do that with junk mail and some things, but there's going to be like that bill that's in the stack of mail that you might not have time right now to take care of. So just make sure that you're recognizing that if it's going to take more than a minute, it's okay to come back to it. We don't want to constantly be losing our focus by always only touching things once. We need to be present in where we are, but when we can take care of something in just a minute, that's the time to take care of it.
Do it. Do it. All right, this next one I've never heard said like this, but it totally makes sense. Keep flat surfaces flat.
I know, don't you love that?
I love it.
That's a fun way to think of it because you have surfaces that like to get bumpy.
Yeah, the kitchen counter.
Right.
Every day.
Right. We all have a space like our nightstand or a corner in our bedroom or the kitchen counter. So when you have one of those flat surfaces that likes to get bumpy, remind yourself, I'm going to keep it flat.
It's such a good way to say it.
Right. So just create a little habit or a habit hook, you know, like if it's your kitchen counter, when you're done doing the dishes at night, just kind of habit hook. I'm also going to clean off this little counter. And as you do it, just remind yourself, I keep flat surfaces flat.
I keep flat surfaces flat. For those really bumpy surfaces, do you find it helps to at least group or pile until I do have the time?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
White space does a lot.
Right. And, implement some of those other things that we've talked about as you head back to a room, grab something that goes with you on the way, and it'll just help minimize all of that.
All right, these last two strategies are more about keeping everything from building up in the first place. You have a little acronym, FIFO.
I do. First in, first out.
What does this mean?
It means when you bring something new into your house, have another item that's older that you're not using as much ready to go out.
Ooh, okay, it's a one for.
Yeah, it's like keeping the equilibrium, so you get new shoes. What's the first one you're going to take out that you're not wearing anymore? Or when your kids get birthday gifts, however many they get, let them know that's awesome. Now you can choose that many to let go of that you're not playing with anymore.
Do you practice this, Jenny?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I'll go shopping. I mean, I'm an organizer, but
come on.
I'll go shopping and be like, oh, which few things am I going to get rid of? I like not having to add more hangers to my closet. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but it works.
We live in such a more is more society.
Right.
We live around excess. We're so used and accustomed to excess that it feels good, I think, to practice, if you want to call it discipline, just a little bit less.
Well, and this is a little game. It's a way to gamify it and help you guard against that buildup.
FIFO, first in, first out. And then don't say yes to other people's clutter. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so we've all been in that awkward situation where your mom or your sister's cleaning out their house and they want to give you their old stuff.
Yes.
Right? So say no to other people's clutter, because if you take it, it will become yours. So here's a good rule of thumb.
Okay.
If you would not go out to the store and spend money on the very thing they're trying to give you, say no. Right?
Say no.
Yeah, and if you feel a little bit bad, you can just thank them for thinking of you, and just say, I'm working on not having a lot of build up too, so I'm going to pass.
No offense.
Yeah, but
if you wouldn't pay money at the store, don't take it from the girl next door.
Yep.
I've actually sort of started to do this with samples, like the Sephora or Ulta. I'll just say no thanks, because they sit there and I don't use them. I rarely love and go buy them, which is what they hope I'll do anyway. So just say no.
Well, and you're just anticipating I'm going to have to take care of this at a later date, and I think you start to get that on your radar. You just don't want to get yourself in that situation. Guard against it, Brooke.
Guard against.
No more samples.
These are so good. Where can we find more advice from you, sister?
Okay, so I am at the Happy Gal. I also have my podcast, Life Organized, and I will also be at Pinner's Conference on Friday at 12:30 talking about digital clutter.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
It's a messy topic. So
all the best gal pals
hope to see people there.
Are at Pinner's. Thank you so much, Jenny.
Thank you.